in the colorway of the season. Should I have not cast this on because I've already got 3 big projects on the needles? Absolutely. Hi and welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Mathilde, I'm a French knitter. As you can probably see behind me, maybe not, but you can probably tell from the lighting, this is another gloomy day, which is fine for me. I love gloomy days, rainy days, foggy days, but there's a little bit of a storm outside. So hopefully the lighting doesn't change too much, but if it does, I'm sorry about that. If you're not subscribed already, I would really appreciate if you did, because it really helps the channel and means a lot to me. So you can click on the subscribe button down below so that you don't miss any future content. But let's just get straight into it. Today I don't have any finished objects, but I do have a lot of progress on my whips, as well as 2 new cast-ons and 1 acquisition, but it's not yarn related. I still haven't gotten my knitting for olive order. I think there was a bit of an issue with it. I'm still waiting to hear back from them, so who knows when I'll get that. But let's maybe just first talk about what I'm wearing, which is the Sandro Pullover by Knitting Flam or Flaminia. This is a test knit I did for her, was it early this year? Wow, time is flying. And it's a really lovely, quite Ralph Lauren looking crew neck cable sweater. It's quite easy to make, but you do have to be quite comfortable with German short rows because it does have a lot of them in the back as well as in the shoulder shaping, and then on the sleeve as well. But it's a really great pattern. I really recommend it. I knitted mine in Gynt by Sandnes Garn in the colorway Poppy. But let's just talk about my knitting. I think we'll start with the oldest one that's been on my needles for a while now, and that is the Agnete Cardigan by PetiteKnit. Now I am quite happy to say that I have managed to reach the point that I wanted, but I'm not exactly, like, I would have liked to go a little bit further. I just haven't prioritized this knit. Before I show it to you, I just want to remind you, if you're not new here, I am using Knitting for Olive Merino and Soft Silk Mohair in the colorway Red Currant. So that's my yarn combination. This is where I'm at. So I've finally reached the bottom ribbing of the body. So that means that this is about how much I've done since last time. This is the stitch marker that I put. I finished the 3rd buttonhole. I put my stitches on hold for the button band, and now I'm just knitting flat still. That was always happening. I'm knitting the ribbing 1 by 1 ribbing. Now it's quite slow going because it is like you increase the number of stitches between where you split from the brioche into the 1 by 1 ribbing, to account for the fact that the 1 by 1 ribbing is less, I suppose, stretchy or less wide than the brioche. So I've got, I don't know how many stitches on my needles, but one row takes ages. So I've done maybe 1 centimeter of the ribbing, and I think I'm supposed to do 6 or 7. I haven't checked. I haven't picked this project up in a while, I have to be honest, but I am like so close to the bottom of the body, and then I can start the sleeves. So I'm really excited about that. But because I had another project that was like where I was in the project was also 1 by 1 ribbing, I chose to focus on that instead of this one. But I think once that one is like past that 1 by 1 ribbing stage, I think I'll hopefully try to finish the body of this by the next podcast, and maybe pick up a sleeve. We'll see. I do have another priority this week, which is a test knit, which I'll show you a bit later. I think that's the only update that I will make about this, but if you're curious about knowing more of this construction, I've talked about it a bunch in the latest podcast, so that's why I'm not really sharing too much about it. I may have to open the door for the cat, so we'll see if he complains. Okay, technically the other project that I had on my needles, or that I have on my needles, is the Honey Clutch by PetiteKnit, but I won't be showing you anything about that in this podcast because I haven't done anything on it. I think I'm at this point in my projects where I'm like really motivated by all of them except this one, and it's a gift knit, so it's even a little bit less motivating for me in a way because it's not going to end up being for me, but I do also enjoy making gift knits. That's my cue. So yeah, I like making gift knits, but I just want to enjoy what I'm knitting on, and I think I may frog this one. It's just not a very pleasant knitting experience, just because, like, not the stitch itself, but just the fact that it's on long cable, and the cable that I'm using is a little bit bent, and so it's just not that exciting. I think I'll just put it aside for now, maybe try casting on another one of the gift knit ideas that I had and go back to it later, but at the moment right now I just don't feel like picking it up, so I might end up frogging it and making something else, and I think that's okay. But let's talk about what's taken most of my attention just before I had the test knit going, and that's the Porcelain Sweater by Lene Holme Semse. My yarn is tangled, but we'll fix that later. Okay, in the last podcast I shared with you how far I'd gone into that project. I think I had, like, that was my first time showing it to you, and I had finished the yoke, and I was just a little bit unsure of the amount of positives I would end up getting in that project. So I decided to mid-project block it. Is that a sentence I can make? I don't know. I decided to do a mid-project block on that one, and I'm really glad that I did, because I completely forgot that my swatch had grown, you know, not a ton, but quite significantly width-wise, and that's what ended up happening, and I think this is gonna end up being absolutely stunning. So yeah, this is my progress on this. I've finished the body basically. I just have to do the bind off, but I've already done the 2 rounds of the bunting, so I just have to do the bind off. I'll do that later today, but I've basically finished this body, which is so exciting. Again, the yoke is blocked, but not the body, and I don't know if you're gonna be able to see. Hopefully you can see, like, that the yoke is quite a bit wider than the body, and I think I'm going to do another mid-project block once I finish the body, just to check that everything is fine. I may not end up having the exact amount of positives that I wanted, but if I've got at least a bit more than 15, that's fine. But when I checked as I was blocking it, and I haven't checked again, it was exactly 114 centimeter wide, which is the size that I want to make, which is size medium. And so I was gonna end up having 24 centimeter of positives. Now I haven't checked if that's what I've still got, you know, as it's settled into the block, but it's at least 20, I think, centimeter of positives, so that's really exciting. I know some of you were like not confident about it. I myself was definitely not confident, but for some reason this yarn combination stretches a bit for me in blocking, so that's very good, but I'll still check before starting the sleeves. Now I still haven't woven my ends, so I've got still a ton of ends to weave in, but I absolutely adored making this colorwork motif, both of them. I've heard people say that this one is a little bit more tricky, maybe just because of the floats. I think I've done a pretty good job. I did catch my floats for, I think there's a bit where you have to, yeah, in the leaf motif, for example, from here to here you have to catch your floats. Like, I think I did it every 3 to 4 stitches. It's not the best, but hopefully blocking will make it as nice as possible. And for this one as well, I mean, the chart was really easy to follow, And it's just so satisfying because it's like a chunk of color work, but then you've got a little bit of stockinette, and then you're just like, I'm really eager to actually start on the next motif. And then you like being able to see it grow and come to life is just so motivating. So that's why this has gotten quite a lot of progress on, and I'm so excited to start working on the sleeves as well and the color work charts on that. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to start on the sleeve for the next podcast. I hope so, but we'll see. I will at least hopefully have done a mid-project blog again to check that the sizing is good, and I'll hopefully share that with you. I haven't mentioned what yarn I'm using for this. I'll include a B-roll, but I'm using Tynn Gynt by Sandnes Garn in the colorway 1001, I think. If I'm wrong, it will be up on the screen as well as in the description down below. And I'm pairing it with Soft Silk Mohair by Petitoleum in the colorway Cream. And for the contrast color, I'm using a hand-dyed yarn by Olivia and Oliver Fibers in the colorway Foliage in her organic merino base, held with Soft Silk Mohair by Petitoleum in the colorway Dusty Olive. That's a mouthful to explain a colorwork project, because there's so many, I mean, not even that many, but you know, quite a bit of yarns to go through. Let's talk about the next one I cast on, or like the, you know, the latest one. Not quite the latest, but one of the latest, and that is the testknit that I was mentioning. So this is a testknit by Toksknits, Jane. I really enjoy testknitting for her. I think she has amazing design ideas, and her patterns are always so thorough and clear. So it's always such a pleasant moment for me. So I'm test knitting the Olanna Blouse, and it's this stunning blouse knitted with mohair held double, and it's got a v-neck made by cables, or like adorned by cables. I don't know how to say that, but it's really stunning. So I'm so excited to knit this. And this test knit is sponsored by Easier. I'm using Easier Silk Mohair held double in the colorway of the season. So of course I chose a burgundy color. This is the colorway 36, and I've used this mohair a couple of times before, but I've never held it double, so that was really exciting for me to try as well. And yeah, I just love this color. I'm obsessed. I think this will be so pretty for fall. The deadline is a bit short, so I should have it quite soon to be able to wear it. And this is how much I've got so far. My cable is starting to be a bit short, so I can't show it to you properly. And you can probably see, let me hide my face. Hopefully you can see a little bit of the cable details around the v-neck, but I'll put a picture in case that's not very obvious. The fact that it's a dark yarn doesn't help, especially with the lighting I've got. But this is a contiguous shoulder construction, so you start at the back panel, casting on a certain number of stitches. You have some increases to shape the back, and then, but not that many compared to, you know, a drop shoulder. And then you pick up stitches for here, I think. I'm being confused. Yeah, you pick up stitches here for the front. This is so difficult to show you. Here you pick up stitches, you know, once you've done the increases. You do a little bit of the shaping of one shoulder and then the next, and then you join it all together and you shape it with more increases, as well as starting to shape the v-neck with the cables. And the cables aren't too frequent, so it's okay to, like, it's not mindless, because you do have quite a big number of increases to make every row, but, or not every row, but like often. But for the cabling it's not as often, so that's really nice. So I'm hoping to get the yoke done pretty quickly, so that then it's just stocking it in the round and should be pretty easy and mindless. And I've been really craving a mindless knit on my needles, because the Agnete Cardigan, you know, it's brioche, so it's quite time consuming. I don't see a lot of progress quickly. And the Porcelain Sweater, although there are some stockinette main color parts, there's still the colorwork charts that I have to be at my computer with the chart on my computer, so that I can, you know, really pay attention to it and stuff. So, and then I had the honey clutch, which is quite a complicated stitch, not too complicated, but just, it's just not stockinette. So it's always nice to have a stockinette project on the needle. So this is going to be really, really stunning. I'm really excited about this. And in case I didn't say, this is a long sleeved blouse as well, so perfect for fall. Okay, I feel like this is going to be quite a short episode. Let's talk about my last cast on. I know I've cast on a lot, but I told myself this one would be cast on the 1st of September, and it was, and I'm really excited about it. Should I have not cast this on because I've already got 3 big projects on the needles? Absolutely, but I still wanted to do it, so I did. If you've been around for a while, you knew this was coming because I've been talking about this for ages, but I did finally cast on the Esther Sweater by PetiteKnit. Finally. Obviously I don't have a lot to show you, but you know, I've started the back panel, so that's still pretty good. Let me share the yarn before we dive into this. I am using a beautiful hand-dyed yarn, again by Olivia and Olive Fibers. This is her Organic Decay with her Suri Silk in the colorway Chestnut. And this is amazing to work with. I absolutely adore it. The Esther Sweater is a pretty textured sweater, but with this combination it's not quite as visible, but I do really like how that looks. You can still see the pearls stitches, but it's just, I don't know, it's just so nice and it's so soft. Now I've just started this, but I will say I don't think the pattern is that clear, at least for now. You start with a certain amount of stitches to cast on, and then you shape it with increases whilst, you know, maintaining or starting the pattern, I suppose, the motif I should say. But she doesn't, like, there's a chart that you have to follow, and for the legend of the chart it just says for the increases make one left, make one right. But you do have some pearl rows, obviously, because you're knitting it flat at the beginning, and it doesn't mention if you're supposed to, because you do have to make those increases on both the right side and the wrong side of the pattern, and it doesn't mention if you're supposed to do make one left pearl and make one right on the wrong side. I don't think for an advanced or an intermediate knitter it would matter. Like, I kind of figured out that I needed to make those increases that way to you know, for it to look like this. But if I were a beginner knitter, I just wouldn't know about, I maybe wouldn't even know that those types of increases exist. And so I think it's just a little bit lacking in that sense. Now I've only just started this, and there's even a point in the chart when you don't even see the increases that you're supposed to make, but she just says in the written instructions, keep making those increases. And again, she doesn't really mention if you're supposed to knit them in pattern, or just always make one left, make one right, or do what I'm doing, which is make one left, make one right on the right side, and make one left pearl, make one right pearl on the wrong side. So I just thought I would mention it in case you've been wanting to knit on this, are about to cast it on, or maybe if you've cast on, if you've knitted on it before or whatever. I think this is the first time that I've had such an unclear part in a Petite pattern, so I'm a little bit iffy about it, but we'll see if it stays that way for the rest of the pattern, or if it's a little bit better. Now, the issue I'm starting to encounter with my many projects on needles is that I don't have a lot of cables, so I'm gonna have to change cables soon because this one is already starting to be pretty tiny, but that's the life I've been wanting to live, apparently. And yeah, this one, unfortunately, I don't think is going to be my priority this September. I've got the testknit, which is like the #1, and then whilst I would love to make the Agnete my priority, just because it's brioche, it's just not going to be the reality. I think I would like to finish the Porcelain first, and then, you know, focus on the Agnete still quite a bit, but hopefully this one will be my October focus. but I'm hoping to get, you know, a little bit done here and there still. So I'm feeling pretty good about my knitting at the moment. I think maybe I'm gonna cast on another gift knit, but like a simple project that's gonna be able to help me once I've finished the Olanna Blouse, which is my mindless knit at the moment. I'm gonna need another mindless knit, and I think a gift knit would be a good one to make. And finally, let's talk about acquisitions. For the knitting for olive order, I don't know when that's gonna arrive. Hopefully not too long of a time, but I did receive a bag kit by Babylon Leather. I'm sure you've heard about them before because, for example, Inga from Knitting Tradition has made a bag using a kit from them as well. And I'm really excited to start mine as well. I think it's just so nice to be able to have, you know, hand knitted pieces. Soon, hopefully, I'm gonna learn to sew as well. And now I'm making my very own bag. Like, that's incredible. My sister has made a bag for herself once, and that was really time consuming and really hard to make. So I'm excited to just have to combine it all the pieces together to make mine. So basically with Babylon Leather, you get all of the pieces of the bag and then you need to put it all together yourself. There's a video tutorial accompanied in the kit, as well as all the tools that you need to be able to do that. The model that I chose is actually a similar bag from Porcelain, the French brand. My sister actually has that same bag from Porcelain, and I really love that design, and I just think it's going to be so nice to have that piece in my wardrobe. So I haven't started it yet, as you can see, but I'm excited to share with you my progress over the next couple of weeks. I don't know how fast I'm gonna get at it. My priority is still on the knitting, especially the testknit, but I'm definitely eager to try my hand at this and see how that goes, because I'm a little bit, not scared, but you know, the unknown is always a little bit scary. If you're interested, you can use the code Mathilde10 or the link in the description down below to get your own Pauline bag or another one of their kits. And thank you Babylon Leather for this gift. So I think that's it for me today. That was quite a quick one. I hope I haven't talked too quickly. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what you're currently knitting on. As always, I absolutely love to hear that. I know a few of you had plans to knit the Esther Sweater as well this fall, so let me know if you're doing that. About the live streaming, I still haven't figured out how that's going to go, and with the new job starting, I just haven't had time to actually set that up. So maybe next month will be more realistic for me, but I'll keep you a bit updated on my channel as well as on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!